For decades, the story of luxury in Africa has pretty much been written in one direction. But right now, there's a huge economic pivot happening that's completely rewriting that script. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into how Africa is transforming from just a source of inspiration into the world's most sought-after luxury client.
This quote from business leader Grace Mumo, it just nails it, right? The hunter has become the architect. It's such a powerful way to think about it. It's about a continent that's no longer just a source of raw materials or a place to visit, but is now actively designing its own role on the global stage.
And this slide just lays it all out so clearly. The old view was super simple. The world looks to Africa as a destination. But the new reality? Well, now Africa is looking out at the world. Africans are the clients now, and they're the ones shaping global markets with their spending power. So let's break this down in our first section, from destination to client. And look, this isn't some minor trend we're talking about. This is a historic pivot. Understanding it means we have to reevaluate pretty much everything we thought we knew about Africa's place in the global economy.
And this shift isn't just a theory. It's happening in the real world. I mean, just look at ILTM Africa. It's one of the biggest luxury travel marketplaces on the planet. For their 2026 event, they've officially expanded the conversation. For the very first time, the focus isn't just on bringing people to Africa, but on serving the massive and growing market of Africans traveling out.
So just how big is this shift, really? Well, Section 2 gives us the proof, and it's worth $1.6 billion. Because behind this idea is some hard data, and it's telling a really powerful story of what's being called a capital realignment.
And here it is, the headline number, $1.6 billion. That's the projection for what Africans will spend on outbound luxury travel every single year by the end of 2026. I mean, that's not pocket change, right? That is an economic force that the world simply cannot ignore. And if you look at this chart, you can see where that money is coming from. Luxury travel agencies all across sub-Saharan Africa are reporting a 32% surge in outbound bookings year over year. That's a huge jump. And where are they going? Well, there's a massive focus on Middle Eastern hubs like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. It shows you there are very specific high-end travel tastes at play here. This spending power is so big, it's actually creating whole new terms. Have you heard of luxscaping? It's this trend of booking these incredible ultra-luxury stays at the beginning and end of a trip. The whole point is to maximize what these travelers see as the ultimate luxury, what they call the currency of time. And get this, it's not some tiny niche thing. Data shows that 64% of South African luxury travelers are already doing it.
Okay, but here's what makes this trend really important. It's resilience. Think about this. While the global luxury market has actually shrunk by about 50 million people, Africa's high net worth population is doing the exact opposite. It's expanding. And the countries leading that charge are economic powerhouses like South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria.
And all of this leads us to our third section, spending as sovereign power. Because what we're seeing here is about way more than just fancy vacations. It's about leveraging economic power to have real, tangible influence on the global stage. And that brings us right back to that powerful idea from Grace Mumo. Our spending power is our seat at the table. It completely reframes how you think about spending, right? It's not just consumption anymore. It becomes a strategic tool, a way to command respect and, maybe more importantly, to demand reciprocity. So how does that actually work? How does spending money turn into power? Well, this slide lays out the logic pretty clearly. First, you have this outbound wealth flowing into global luxury markets. That spending then creates leverage, and that leverage gives you influence, which leads to the really crucial final step, the ability to demand that those same global brands invest back into Africa. It creates this powerful, virtuous cycle. So what this all means is that the whole idea of the African traveler is being completely transformed. They're no longer just seen as consumers. In this new reality, they're ambassadors of a new economic reality. They're actively proving the continent's growing prosperity with every single purchase they make around the world. All right, this all brings us to our final section, the new global table. Because this sovereign shift doesn't just change things for Africa, it creates a brand new reality and a really sharp set of questions for visionary leaders and global brands everywhere. And this brings up a really provocative question for all those global brands out there. If Africa is spending $1.6 billion traveling out into the world, Why are so many of these brands hesitant to build their main experience hubs, their flagship stores and brand centers, on the continent itself? You see the disconnect there, right? It just doesn't add up.
And in today's world, with everything so volatile, the next question hits even harder. In a world full of risk and uncertainty, is your company's growth strategy anchored in what is arguably the world's most resilient emerging consumer base, the African high net worth individual?
And that all boils down to this final and honestly most important thought. This calls for a fundamental shift in mindset. The question isn't just about market entry anymore. It's about real partnership. How does your organization stop seeing Africa as just a market to enter and start seeing Africans as partners to align with? And that right there, that's the real question at the heart of this entire sovereign shift.